you're going to map 3 of the switches to A and 3 of the switches to B. So I mapped, and I did it like this. I mean, you don't have to. You can do it however you want to do it. But to me, this was the easiest to then have it be as close to looking like a binary number as possible. So I mapped the last 3 to A, and then I skipped one just so that I had like a space in between them. I mean, you can map whichever ones you want. And then the next 3 I mapped to B. And so then these will correspond to the binary numbers. So if I wanted A to equal 6, I would turn this switch on and this switch on and leave this one off. And if I wanted B to be 2, I would have this switch on. And then this would correspond to A equals 6 and B equals 2. So then when I add those, if I'm using a serial adder, so I have 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0. When you add those, 0 plus 0 is 0. And what's going to happen as you shift these into your sum, so your sum, I used these 3 LEDs to be the sum. And so they start off as not lit up. And so their values are 0. And as you get a value here, you shift it into the sum. And so you shift it in from the left, and the right bit goes out. So I get this 0. I shift that one in, and this one goes out. Then I add 1 and 1, and I get 0, carry the 1. So then this 0 gets added in, and this one goes out. And then I get 1 and 1 is 0, carry the 1. So I put the 0 in, and this one goes out. They're still all 0. And that's actually correct. They don't light up. I get 8. And 8 is equivalent to 0 because I only have 3 bits. And when I only have 3 bits, 8, 1, 0, 0, 0, I'm just using these. So if you add 2 numbers and you get something bigger than 7, to see what you should have displaying, it should be, you subtract 8 from it. So let's look at another example. Let's say that I wanted to add together the values. If I had A equal to 3 and B equal to also 3. Then the way I would set up my switches is I would have those 2 on because the binary number for 3 is 0, 1, 1. So these 2 on, this one off, that one off, these 2 on. And then when I add these, so my sum starts as 0, 0, 0. And so I'll add 1 and 1 and I get 0. So that moves in, this one goes out. I carried the 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 1, carry the 1. So I'll put the 1 in, and that goes out. And so now what the sum looks like is 1, 0, 0. If you are also showing this as on the 7-segment display, what you'll see at this point is 4. And then when I do my last addition, 1 plus 0 plus 0, I get 1. I'll put the 1 goes in, and this goes out. And now I have 1, 1, 0, which equals 6, and that's what shows on the display. So you'll have this light will be lit, and this light will be lit, and that one will be off. So let's see. Did it open up? It did. Now, if you have time, and you might, if you write your code ahead of time, you might want to do what I did because I found this is a lot easier for me to check it. I also mapped some lights, the LEDs, to the values of A, B, and C so I could see what they were. So I had, well, actually, let me show you first without doing that. Okay, so if you look here on my switches, I had the last 3 switches were set to A0, A1, and A2, and then I skipped a switch, and then I had B0, B1, and B2, and then I made the reset switch all the way over at the other end. Oh, I didn't show you that. So the reset, you need to, before each addition, you need to set the reset and press the clock button and then unset the reset. And then I set the sum lights just to be 3 of the LEDs. And then what I did when I was checking it, it just made it easier to see. I also I made some other LEDs. I put AL and BL to stand for ALED and BLED. And then I assigned AL to equal A and BL to equal B so that those lights would light up, and so that when I did it, I could see, I would see what, visually what A and B were. And so I, in addition to mapping the sum lights, looks like I took them out of here when I was editing it. Yeah, I deleted them from this when I was editing it to show for the video. But what I did was I set the LEDs that were right above those switches. Let me show you. Well, I can't do it now because I don't have the right code. So add reset, next add clock reset 0 clock. No. Here's how it goes. So it goes, that's a good question. Okay, so this is a more adder, and it's 3 bits, and that means it needs to go for at least, you might not get the right answer for 4 clock cycles. So what you do, the most efficient way to do it, and you have to be careful because the buttons are not what's called debounced, so they don't always work right. So if you don't get the right answer, just try it again. So if you have yours set like mine are, so I have okay, so these I had set to A, and then I skipped one, and I had these set to B, and I had this as the reset, and I made these my sum LEDs right here. So if I wanted to add 2 numbers, what I would do, like let's say I wanted to add 5 plus 2, then I would make A equal to 5, which is 4 and 1, so I would turn those on, and B equal to 2, so I would turn that on. Then I would press the reset switch, so I'd press the reset switch, and then press the clock button to reset, so clock button's reset, then turn off the reset switch, and then press the clock button 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and if everything goes correctly at that point, you should see 7 on the 7-segment display and all 3 of the sum lights lit up. And then when it's time for you to demo your next addition, so let's say your next addition is 1 plus 4, you would then, I'll set B to be 4 and A to be 1. So I set these switches, Then I make the reset switch. I press the reset switch up. I press the clock button to reset. I turn the reset off. And then I press the clock button 1, 2, 3, 4 times. I'm supposed to see someone at 2:30. So, but I do, if you watch the video, I do have part of the video shows me actually doing it, so you can see what it looks like. All right. Okay, so I have to go now. Okay, good. All right, yeah, glad I was able to explain it. Okay. Anything else? All right, well, I might see some of you this evening, and if you are in Circuits 1 and I don't see you, good luck on your Circuits test, and otherwise I will see any of you who want to come to the SI next Monday. All right, have a good rest of the week. Bye.
Thank you.